Welcome to Pocket Library, where we uncover the wisdom of the world's most influential books. Today we're exploring The Hard Thing About Hard Things, Building a Business When There Are No Easy Answers by Ben Horowitz, an influential guide that's part memoir, part survival manual for entrepreneurs and leaders. Ben Horowitz, co-founder of the legendary venture capital firm Andreessen Horowitz and former CEO of Opsware, doesn't give us the usual business school playbook here. Instead, he shares hard-earned lessons on leading a company when times get tough and decisions are high stakes. His book reveals the gritty, painful, and often lonely realities of entrepreneurship, providing lessons that come from years of personal experience rather than theoretical ideas. Horowitz starts with one of the book's core messages. Sometimes there just aren't easy answers. Leading a business, he argues, is about facing situations that have no clean solutions and making the best choices you can in the moment. He doesn't sugarcoat the struggles. Instead, he insists that for many of the hardest decisions, clarity can sometimes be more important than certainty. When a solution isn't obvious, the best leaders bring as much transparency as possible and help their teams understand the reality of the situation. One of the first hard things he dives into is about facing a crisis head-on. Horowitz's most personal example is from his time as CEO of LoudCloud. LoudCloud was growing quickly, but as the dot-com bubble burst, cash was running out. He was forced to make painful decisions to keep the company afloat. Horowitz had to lay off employees, restructure the business, and pivot it into Opsware, focusing on software rather than services. Each of these moves felt like a risk, but survival required it. This leads Horowitz to a key concept: the difference between a wartime CEO and a peacetime CEO. During calm periods, a CEO can be collaborative and patient, encouraging broad input from the team. But in a crisis, a wartime CEO doesn't have that luxury. They must make decisive moves, even when unpopular, and sometimes make calls that only they can see are necessary. Horowitz explains that as a wartime CEO, he had to be more direct, more ruthless in a sense, because he couldn't afford hesitation. The survival of his company depended on him being able to act boldly, even if it meant criticism or resistance from others. Then he takes us through one of the most difficult aspects of leading: hiring, firing, and managing a team. One of his core principles in hiring is the idea of hiring for strength. Rather than looking for a broad skill set, he advises founders to hire people who can specifically solve the biggest problems the company faces. The right hire, he believes, can often be the difference between success and failure, especially in the company's early stages. It's not about filling a position with just anyone. It's about bringing in someone who can tackle the specific challenges your company needs to overcome right now. When it comes to firing, Horowitz doesn't hold back on the difficulty of this role. He argues that firing should be done with empathy, but also with complete clarity. Delaying a necessary firing, he warns, can lead to a toxic work environment, affecting morale and creating bigger problems down the line. Horowitz gives an example from his own career, where he learned that keeping an underperforming employee around out of sympathy only led to greater issues for the entire team. He emphasizes that leaders must make these hard decisions, not just for the company's well-being, but also to be fair to the person involved, helping them move on to a better-suited role elsewhere. Another major theme is the loneliness of being a CEO. Horowitz describes the unique isolation that comes with leading a company, where the responsibility of every critical decision falls solely on the CEO. It's a role that demands resilience, the ability to withstand criticism, and to act with conviction when necessary. Horowitz recalls a time when he got into a heated argument with an employee who disagreed with a pivotal decision. Instead of avoiding the confrontation, he faced it directly, ultimately gaining respect for his ability to stand firm. This moment reflects one of his core beliefs: CEOs must trust their judgment, especially when it's not popular. Horowitz also discusses a critical element for every company, especially when scaling rapidly: maintaining culture. When LoudCloud became Opsware, it transitioned from a small startup to a larger publicly traded company. As the business evolved, Horowitz prioritized keeping its culture intact, embedding its core values into everything from hiring to daily work. He insists that culture isn't just something that happens organically. Leaders need to define it, communicate it clearly, and make sure everyone is accountable. During tough times, a strong culture is what holds the company together, providing a sense of purpose and unity. For Horowitz, culture also means creating an environment where feedback is clear and honest. He calls his approach the shocking but true method, which involves delivering difficult feedback with honesty and clarity. Horowitz stresses that avoiding these tough conversations only creates larger problems down the line. Employees may not like hearing blunt feedback, but they'll respect it, and it helps them grow. He emphasizes that a leader must find the balance between empathy and expectation. Employees should know they are supported, but they should also be held to high standards. Finally, Horowitz doesn't shy away from talking about the personal sacrifices that leadership often demands. He opens up about how the intense pressures at Opsware affected his mental health and personal life, sharing his struggles with anxiety and depression during difficult periods. This candid account reminds us that leadership, particularly in high-stakes environments, can take a toll. Building a support network outside of work is crucial, Horowitz argues, for sustaining oneself through these tough times. Each chapter wraps up with practical takeaways. He offers us advice like always being prepared for worst-case scenarios, ensuring team members feel included in big-picture plans, and leading with transparency. Above all, Horowitz teaches us to make peace with imperfection, to accept that not every problem has a solution, and that sometimes survival itself is a success. In the end, the hard thing about hard things is an unfiltered, insightful account of the true nature of leadership. Horowitz doesn't present a neatly packaged success formula. Instead, he reminds us that the path of entrepreneurship is one of resilience, grit, and an unbreakable commitment to the mission. It's about embracing the hard things as part of the journey. Thanks for joining us at Pocket Library. We hope today's journey added something valuable to your day. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more dives into great books. Until next time, keep exploring and keep learning.
In a quiet nook where stories grow, whispers of the past begin to show. Pages turn with tales untold in the flicker of a candle's glow. Curiosity rides every line, anticipation sweet as wine.